The movie begins with some archaeologists who are searching for something in a cave 1,000 feet below sea level. After great efforts, they find an old cave, and they become very happy with their findings. However, a little later, we see some bizarre creatures, resembling bats, moving toward the world after killing the archaeologists. Now, the scene changes, and we see a deaf girl named Ally, who had lost her hearing sense in a car accident some 3 years ago. But she learned sign language, and now she communicates with her family in sign language. Children at school and on the street bully her because she cannot listen to them. Ally's family included her father, Hugh, her mother, Kelly, her grandmother, Lynn, and her younger brother, Jude. Besides them, she had a pet dog and a boyfriend named Rob. In the next scene, we see Ally and Rob walking together on the street, and he tells her that his parents are taking him to drive the car this weekend. Ally tells him that she is getting late and that her mother will be waiting for her at home. When she reaches home, her father asks her who the boy is she is dating, and she blushingly tells him about Rob, but her father already knows about Rob. When Kelly turns on the television at night, she sees the terrible news that some strange creatures, dubbed Vesps by the reporter, have invaded the United States of America. The sound of the helicopter hovering over their house creates a feeling of terror in Ally. The reporter announces that Vesps are killing humans ruthlessly and that the only way to avoid a Vesp attack is to remain silent in the house. Ally suggests that they go to the countryside and live there, as their city is much noisier and Vesps will easily attack them. In this tense condition, Hugh's best friend, namely Glenn, comes home, carrying a gun with him, and he approves their going to the countryside to escape from the Vesps. They all set out for the countryside, taking necessary items with them. Next, we see a train full of passengers sitting silently. Suddenly, a baby starts to cry, and all the passengers look at the baby and its mother. The baby and its mother are left outside in the face of death as the baby's cry could attract Vesp's attention. On the other hand, an unknown person tries to hijack Hugh's car when they stop at a gas station to fill the tank. Glenn shoots the unknown person in the leg, and they move on. As they travel ahead, they see a traffic jam, and Glenn decides that they should take a detour because the traffic jam is not going away easily. Glenn's car crashes as he tries to save some deer while driving off-road. Glenn survives the accident, but he suffers severe injuries, and his foot becomes trapped in the car. Hugh rushes towards Glenn to help him out of the car, but he fails. In the meantime, we see that the Vesps arrive in the area where Glenn has a car accident. Ally's pet dog barks loudly as it sees Vesps, which attract Vesps, and they attack their car. Glenn opens fire from inside his car so that the Vesps leave Hugh's family and fly towards him. Hearing the sound of the gunshot, Vesps fly towards Glenn and kill him. Then, again, they attack Hugh's car as the dog is continuously barking. Now, Hugh has two options to deal with the dog: either kill it or throw it out of the car. Thus, Hugh throws the dog out of the car, and Ally's heart sinks as she witnesses the dog's death. But at this point, survival was most important. Hugh's family already knows sign language, so it is easy for them to survive without speaking. After the Vesps are gone, they leave the car in the midst of the jungle, thinking that due to the sound of the car, Vespas can again come and attack them. They move forward on their feet, and they see a big house that is fenced on all sides. Reaching near, they see the door to the fence is also locked. An elderly woman comes out of the house with a gun in her hands as soon as she hears the sound of the bell. She yells at the top of her lungs to send away Hugh's family, but instead she invites her own death as the Vesps attack the woman as she yells. The house is now empty after the death of the old lady, and Hugh plans to enter the house through a drainage pipe because the door is locked. Hugh crawls through the pipe, and he asks his family to follow him. When Ally and her brother Jude are crawling, they see a poisonous snake sitting in the pipe. The rattlesnake makes noise with its hissing, and the Vesps attack it and kill it. As the Vesps attack Kelly when she is crawling, Hugh runs towards a wood chipper machine that is standing nearby and turns it on. Hugh rushes towards Kelly and takes her inside the house once the Vesps have left. Once inside, everyone sees that the Vesps have brutally injured Kelly's foot, and she cries out of pain. Ally searches the house for a first aid kit and brings it to Hugh to bandage Kelly's wound. The next morning, Lynn tells Hugh that Kelly's infection is spreading, and to stop it from spreading, she needs antibiotics. Hugh and Ally unlock the main gate of the house and set out to find antibiotics in the abandoned city. As they walk further, they see a dead couple with their necks brutally injured. They see an abandoned medical store, which is locked. Hugh enters the store from the rear and tells Ally to follow him. Ally discovers in the store that the Vesps leave their eggs in the dead bodies of humans to grow their generation. Mistakenly, Ally yells out of fear, and Vesps fly into the store and attack them. Somehow, Hugh presses the fire alarm button, and the water spills into the store, and they run away from the store. When Hugh and Kelly are going home, they meet a tongueless priest who shows them his diary and invites them to join his cult. But Hugh denies his offer and rushes towards the house where her ailing wife is lying. A little later, Hugh and Ally arrive home, and Hugh gives Kelly the antibiotics. Kelly begins to recover after being given antibiotics. Ally has a smartphone, and she talks to her boyfriend, Rob, via chat. Rob tells her that his parents have also been killed and that he has also been going through this plight. Ally tells Rob to join them, but he tells her that he is now going towards the north to refugee camps to save himself from the Vesps. We see that Ally gets information from the internet that the Vesps cannot stay in cold areas, and she thinks if they go to cold areas, they may survive. Next, we see the tongueless priest, who has now come to Hugh's house with some of his followers, and he tries to force Hugh and his family to join his cult, but Hugh does not agree. Next, we learn that the priest is only interested in Ally because she is a young girl who can bear children for him, allowing him to have his own family in the post-apocalyptic world. First, Hugh tries to understand the priest by explaining that he does not want to join his cult, but when the priest does not go away, Hugh takes his gun from the house and aims at him to send him back. That night, we see a small, strange girl outside Hugh's house when Hugh and his family are inside. Seeing a girl who cannot speak, Hugh takes her inside, and Kelly wraps a towel around her to dry her as she is wet. A little later, all of a sudden, the house fills with the sound of ringtones, and Hugh realizes that the girl is a member of the tongueless cult and that she has attached a number of mobile phones to her back. Due to the ringing of the phone, the Vesps attack the house from all sides. Hugh immerses all of the phones in water to silence them. Meanwhile, the cult members with their faces covered try to kidnap Ally, but before they have almost taken her away, her grandmother Lynn intervenes and saves her by putting herself in the face of death. She holds on to the cult members and yells loudly, which attracts the attention of the Vesps, and the Vesps murder the cult members and Lynn while Ally flees to the house crying. Now, Hugh decides to leave the house, as it is not worth staying there any longer. On the way, Hugh again confronts the tongueless priest, and then they have a heavy fight in which Hugh kills the priest. In the next scene, we see Hugh's family tracking toward the north to the refuge. After walking for a long time, Hugh and his family reach the refuge, where a number of people are already staying, including Rob. In the last scene of the movie, we see Ally with her boyfriend, Rob. They are attacking the Vesps with bows and arrows. Now, we come to know that the humans have adopted silence and that humans are now attacking the Vesps to ensure their survival. The movie ends here.